Me pay it to your elder sister instead. Ains stroked the leather cover, which was discolored from age, and then returned it to his pocket dimension. Ains-sama, your servant seeks your permission for a matter. What is it, Demiurge? I saw the reports which Sabas submitted, and something caught my interest. Might I have some of your time? Is there a problem? Yes. There is a place I wish to investigate. I will attempt to return before you must go back, Ains-sama, but it may take a while because I have to search for the place in question. Having you wait for me is terribly disrespectful, but if you could spare me a bit of your precious time. As Ains saw Demiurge's grave face, Ains decided to speak in a light tone to put him at ease. It is fine, Demiurge. You are doing so for the benefit of Nazarick, are you not? Waiting for that purpose is not a hardship. Go, Demiurge. Thank you very much. Part 2 Lower Fire Month, 9th month, 4th day 1501 dawn came, and with it, Sabas and Solution's busy day began. They could have left without a word, but they had built their identities as traitors, and it would be a shame to simply discard it like that, so they decided to put on a show and pretend they were returning to the Empire. He brought Solution with him. She had only met them once before this, when they had just arrived, and announced their return to their homeland to all the traitors and to the guild. Of course, they could not simply leave after saying they were going back. They had to spend time on small talk, that being an indispensable part of improving relationships. The fact was that no man was unwilling to speak with Solution, which meant they had to spend more time on interaction. In the end, they spent upwards of half an hour at every location they visited, and after they had finished reporting to everyone, it was already very late. Well, we spent a lot of time on this, but we've already arranged for the temporary storehouse, and the grain transportation. That should take care of everything, and we can return to Nazarick now. There were hints of delight in Solution's voice. Sabas could tell that this was because she was pleased, both because she would be able to return to the great underground tomb of Nazarick, and also because she had fulfilled the orders her master had handed down to her. Since intelligence gathering had primarily been Sabas' job, she had probably not had much chance to experience the sense of accomplishment which came from serving her master and producing results. Solution's job now was to play the role of the mistress in preparation for their return to Nazarick. Surely that would have filled her with great satisfaction. She seemed about to hum to herself. The fact was that her good-spirited conversation with the merchants had led to various negotiations going in their favor. For instance, they had received a huge discount on the rent for the warehouse, on top of the deductions for buying a large quantity of grain. Being pretty makes you really popular. That was what Sabas thought as he stopped the coach in the yard of the house, and led Solution to the main door of the house. He took out the key for the front door and inserted it into the keyhole. Then he turned it, as he always did, but he did not hear the clicking that should have followed, nor did he feel like he had opened a lock. Sabas wrinkled his brow in confusion, and then his eyes met Solution's. Was the door open? He pushed, and the door opened slightly. Tsuare was the only one left in the house. There was no way she would have gone outside on her own. There are fresh scratches around the keyhole. Someone probably picked. Sabas rammed the door open without waiting for Solution to finish. He did not consider the possibility of there being a trap in place. Even if there was a trap, he would crush it underfoot. Now that they had finished the work of pulling out from the house, it felt cold and empty. Upon setting foot into the house, Sabas immediately deployed his full suite of detection abilities to pick up the breathing of living creatures, in other words, traces of Tsuare. However, he could not sense any humans around. Tsuare. Tsuare, are you there? He shouted loudly as he searched around the house. Sabas went through every nook and cranny, but could not find her. Not only had he not found her, but there were no traces of her either. It was as though she had vanished into thin air. No, somebody must have broken in. There's no smell of blood, so she was probably abducted. That being the case, the kidnapper's demands will be. Sabas clenched his fists. As he thought, he should not have left Tsuare behind while he was saying his farewells. He burned with frustration at his failure. In fact, he should never have left Tsuare alone in the house. Having clashed with a criminal syndicate, he felt that it was inevitable that danger would come his way sooner or later. That said, he had still let Tsuare stay home alone. This was because her mental traumas had not yet healed, and she was still afraid of the outside world and its people. The reason why she had not succumbed to panic during the meeting with Saba's master was because all of them did not look remotely human. Back then, she had not acted like a traumatized person, but an average person who had seen a monster. Even leaving her on the coach might have caused problems as well. It was those worries which made Sabas decide to leave her in the house. He had also believed that in the wake of his wrecking of the brothel, the opposition would take some time to reorganize themselves or plan an attack. All he could say now was that he had been too naive. As Sabas paced quickly through the corridors, a voice called out to him amidst his anxiety. The voice came from the guest lounge. Sabas-sama, over here. Solution, where is she? How could she be there? Sabas had checked the guest lounge just now. Still, he clung to a sliver of faint hope. He entered the room and saw Solution there, holding a piece of parchment. There seems to be something written on, give it to me. Sabas did not wait for Solution to reply before practically snatching it from her hands. Then he activated his magic item and read through the contents, whereupon he crushed the paper in anger. She was kidnapped. Therefore, I shall go and rescue her. Solution's reply was calm and emotionless. Your servant feels that you should do so as well. This did not sound like something Solution would say, and it made Saba's eyes go wide. However, Ains-sama ordered us to retreat to the great underground tomb of Nazarick. Should we not prioritize that order? If we go back, we must do so with Tsuare. Sabas-sama, your servant feels that acting independently here will incur a great risk. Firstly, where will you go to rescue her? The note specified a time and place in exacting detail. Our opposition seems to be people involved with the brothel that I destroyed. I see. However, it would be best to report to Ains-sama before heading there. After all, had you not destroyed the brothel, things would not have ended up like this, Sabas-sama. Was that not a violation of Ains-sama's request that we keep a low profile? In addition, acting on your own again would mean defying Ains-sama's will once more, Sabas-sama, and also, have you forgotten what Ains-sama said back then, Sabas-sama? Those words flashed through Saba's mind like a stroke of lightning. In whose name had Ains sworn to protect Tsuare? Report to Ains-sama. Tell him that Tsuare has been kidnapped and ask him for advice on how to proceed. Part 3 Lower Fire Month, 9th month, 4th day 15:15 HM. Albedo happily hummed a self-made tune to herself as she pushed a needle through a piece of wool, pulled the thread tight, then pushed the needle back in again, and then tightened it again. After several repetitions of this, she had sewn a piece of black cloth to a ball of white wool. After that, she stuffed the cloth into the white ball to make it even rounder. She closely inspected the nearly spherical wool doll, and then a gentle smile formed on Albedo's face. Her expression exuded a gentle kindness, like that of a goddess. All right. I've finished Ains-sama's head. She clenched her fist in satisfaction, and then she caressed the woolen skull. The skull's mouth and eyes were patches of sewn-on cloth, and they looked adorable. Ains would surely be embarrassed if he saw this. All right, now for the body. She set the fabric skull down with infinite kindness, then rose from her chair, and took up a ball of white wool. This was Albedo's personal room. Speaking of personal rooms, Albedo had originally been assigned to the throne room as its defender, so she had never had a room to begin with. However, Ains had decided that such a state of affairs might be problematic for the guardian overseer, and so he had ordered that she be assigned one of the rooms prepared for the 41 supreme beings. Much like Ains' own room, Albedo's quarters were very spacious. Frankly speaking, it was too large for Albedo, who did not have many personal possessions to begin with. However, after living here for about 2 months, the situation was different. The first reason was the changing room which Albedo was about to open. It was filled with Ains's. Of course, they were all fake copies of Ains. There were several Dakamakuras of Ains in various poses, and countless SD plush dolls of Ains. This was one of Albedo's secret rooms. Not even the maids who came in to clean the room were allowed in here. It was an inviolable sanctuary, or in other words, a harem chamber. Kuhuhuhu, with that strange sound, Albedo leapt into the air. She flapped the wings at her waist to slow her charge at the Dakamakuras. It looked like a slow-motion rugby tackle. Albedo embraced the Dakamakura tightly, and then rolled around the floor. There were many different Ainses on the floor as well, which ensured that her landing was well cushioned. She laughed strangely as she buried herself in 3 different Ains Dakamakuras. Kuhuhu, this latest Dakamakura was made from Ain Sama's bedsheet, which means I'm sleeping with Ain Sama. Kuhuhuhu. Albedo buried her face into the Dakamakura, and inhaled deeply. There's no scent, huh? The disappointment was clearly evident in her tone. It would surely induce guilt in any listeners. Ains was undead, so he did not need to sleep or use the bedroom. In addition, his body was skeletal, so he had no scent. He would bathe to rid himself of dirt or dust, but by itself, his body did exude any odors. Could this be Ains Sama's? However, a girl in love could even scent the faint odor that Ains produced, although her nose might have just been playing tricks on her. Kuhuhuhu. She buried her face into the Dakamakura, and gulped down great lungfuls of air. This behavior was less fitting of the guardian overseer than a pervert. Oh, I'm so happy. As the guardian overseer of Nazarick, Albedo had many tasks. She had to handle troop assignations within Nazarick and station sentries to man the early warning perimeter. She also had to maintain the defensive posture of Nazarick and wait at the throne room to verify everyone's status, and so on. It was a set of tasks that would make anyone's eyes ache. Therefore, coming into this room to recharge herself was a critical matter. I want to see Ain Sama. I want to see him. I want to see him. She hugged the pillow tightly, as though to vent her anger at Narbril, who was traveling with Ains. Just then, Albedo. Her body quivered in fear. Albedo broke out in a cold sweat and her face twitched as she looked around, until she was sure that the voice had been generated by magic. Ain Sama, do you have any orders for me? Just now, Saba's no solution sent a message to me. It seems that Tsuare, the woman which Saba's picked up, has been kidnapped. Therefore, I'd like you to put together a set of reinforcements for Saba's. Albedo immediately recalled who Tsuare was when Ains mentioned her. Ains had set out for Irantal in the guise of Mom and Right after returning to Nazarick, but she had heard the rough details from Demiurge, who had stayed behind. Please forgive my foolish questioning of your decision, Ain Sama. But is there a need to draft a team in order to save an inferior life form like a human being? If she were connected to the mastermind of the Shaltir incident, I could understand. No. This situation has nothing to deal with Shaltir being mind-controlled. This matter seems to be the doing of the criminal organization hiding within the kingdom. That being the case, there's even Albedo. I swore on the name of Ains Olgown to help Tsuare. Do you understand? His tone had changed completely. Albedo could feel the searing flames of his anger. Her throat seemed to have glued into a solid mass. Do you understand? Do you understand? I used that name to guarantee her my protection. But someone dared kidnap her in spite of that. In other words, they are insulting the name that we all chose. They may not know the facts, but I will not forgive this. At this point, it felt as though his hatred had suddenly diminished. In all likelihood his emotions had reached a certain threshold, and had been forcibly suppressed. Forgive me. Those damn kidnappers seem to have angered me. I beg your pardon, Albedo. It was only after she heard her master's calm voice that Albedo's own heart could return to peace, and she could finally speak. While she knew that her insuperable master was not angry at her, even Albedo could not help but feel pressured by it. There's no need for you to apologize, Ain Sama. She bowed deeply, even though he was not before her. Then, I order you to safely rescue Tsuare, Albedo. Understood. I shall severely punish the humans who dared anger you at the same time that I mount the rescue. Very good. I'll leave that to you. Also, is Demiurge still in Nazarick to handle the grain transportation? Let him take responsibility for this. I could take action directly. No, Albedo. I need you to defend Nazarick. Send Demiurge over. And remember to be careful. Do not allow your true identities to be exposed. In that case, I will turn the matter of the royal capital over to you and Demiurge. Carry on. Understood. The message spell terminated and silence returned to the room. Albedo slowly rose and carefully stowed away the Dakimakuras. Still, I really don't understand. There was a hard glint in Albedo's eyes as she muttered to herself. She turned to regard the room once more. None of the maids were allowed into this room. This was both because Albedo wanted to monopolize the Ains dolls, and also because of a particular corner of the room. That corner contained the flag emblazoned with the symbol of Ains Ulgaun. It should have been proudly displayed near the entrance, but it had instead been thrown into the corner where it was now gathering dust. There was no trace of respect or admiration for it, only disdain, anger and scorn. Ains Ulgaun, how meaningless. Albedo thought of the flag that had replaced the flag of Ains Ulgaun. It was too large, and so it drooped like a theater backdrop. The great underground tomb of Nazarick belongs to you and you alone. I, Albedo, wish only to serve you. Ah, how I wish I could hear your wondrous name again someday. Clone. New paste. Few persons can be made to believe that it is not quite an easy thing to invent a method of secret writing which shall baffle investigation. Yet it may be roundly asserted that human ingenuity cannot concoct a cipher which human ingenuity cannot resolve. Edgar Allan Poe. Oh. 184,988 pastes opened. Based on an original idea from sebsavage.net. Sam and Max.